This conference will now be recorded.
No problem. The hurrier I go, the behinder I get.
That's nice to be true.
It's nice to be retired, but you'll be there.
I still got a 9-year-old.
Of what?
So I still have a 9-year-old. I'm not retiring.
And they said I was bad. They said I was bad.
Okay, it's 3:01. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, and I apologize for being a little late. If we could all rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for attending today. Just housekeeping up front, if you've got a cell phone, please make sure you put that on vibrate. We also need, so I'll just call a roll really quick. In attendance, we have Supervisor Welsh, Supervisor Tinkle, Supervisor Geppert, Supervisor Banks, and then dialing in remotely, we've got Supervisor Guy. I just need a motion to allow special circumstances for Mr. Guy to attend remotely.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have no video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Much. Thank you.
Ukraine Special V. What can you tell us?
Okay, we will start with public comments. Laura?
I have no sheets and no one chatted online. I have no emails or faxes.
Wow.
Okay. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
They're just outside.
What do they say? They'll look a gift horse in the mouth.
They're organizing.
Okay, great. So we will jump into staff reports. District Attorney.
Yes, sir. A couple items, and one of the items will be taken care of later today with folks from Lee County DOT diversity with regards to the Third Amendment to the local agreement, working with Laura and folks from Lee County on that. So I'll make a presentation. We reviewed the agreement and made suggested edits. They came back for further edits, and what was provided to you, staff is going to recommend someone. I figure we'll talk more about that.
At that item.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
because Cecil called me earlier
Yeah.
this afternoon. He said he'd be here around 3:30, quarter 4. I told him, well, there'll be 15, 20 minutes of public input. And nobody shows.
The other item is.
Tony, I can scarcely hear you.
Sorry, Mr. Guy, I forgot to turn on my microphone. Sorry.
Thank you.
The next item is on the Pelican Reserve DRI amendment that I think y'all know it was approved. We don't have a copy of the ordinance yet. The city has not yet provided. We don't have it from the planner. But Rick Bylansky is already working, I think, with Laura
Yes,
in court, and Mr. Measy has already been inquiring
yes.
as to the schedule. So we'll get a timetable. And I put a call into Rick. He had a couple of questions about the tract of land that is in the unincorporated area that WCI Lennar owns. And I just need to clear with him that what is proposed to be deeded to the district is not just that little strip, it's the whole tract.
That's correct.
So that's, Rick and I missed telephone calls yesterday after his email. So that's moving along. And Laura, I don't know if we'll have a progress report, the next board meeting on that.
I would hope so. Yeah, I gave them the purchase order number so they can go ahead and start working. They had some funds that were left over from another project last year where they had started working on this last fall.
Was that $20,000 deal?
I don't
There
think.
was an invoice or something. What did we have a contract with them that went into the design versus?
I
just getting
couldn't
us
find
through
anything.
this?
I couldn't find anything for the design portion of it. I was able to find something for the consulting, like this pre-stuff,
The
but I'll
pre-stuff.
have to dig into it a little
I
deeper.
don't
but
think we went that far.
I don't think we did either. I
Yeah.
couldn't find anything, any larger ones.
I don't think we bit off more than we thought we could chew, that we had to get
Right.
to it first.
Right,
So
and
I
that was our
imagine we need to
intention.
get a proposal from them for the design related services.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't-
I guess there's almost like a conceptual design. I'll call it rough.
Yeah,
When it
I did
talked
not
about
want
the
to-
width and the
Well, we had to have-
sub-base and base.
We had to have enough to be able to make the presentation.
Right.
but it's not enough, in
That's
my
the
opinion,
detail.
for the design.
And I did not want to assume that we were going to use them as an engineer going forward. To me, it makes sense because they've already done most of the work and, you know, to have them to continue to
Yeah, I
to
agree.
work on it. But, and I have, that's fine. I'll reach out to them for that.
For the next board. That'd be good.
See no reason to change horses in the middle of. spring.
Exactly. But I didn't want to make that decision. So.
On the Palazzo, I'm still wading through the hundreds of pages of the covenants and exceptions to the title work. So I told Mr. Measy we'll definitely have it towards the second meeting in March. Try to wrap that up and get that roadway segment conveyed to the PDD. Now, and also I worked with Steve Adamczyk. Steve's really good to work with. I worked with him on the Prado tract as far as that conveyance also. So try to keep that moving along. From the standpoint of conveyances and deeds, I ordered an update to the title work for the FPL easement lanes south of Gateway Boulevard, which the last time was like 3 years ago, I think. So we can then issue another revised title commitment and give, if there are any changes, provide that to the surveyor.
To Griffin Drive.
Yes, that large, long segment where the linear park would be. And
About 130
boy, they're
acres or
doing
so.
all the new poles now. Holy smokes. I saw that today when I came in.
Yeah. Do what?
The new poles that they're putting in, FPL.
I don't know what they're doing out there.
Special-
They're replacing them.
Yeah, they're pretty intense. So
Look pretty big.
the idea is, again, to get that deeded.
Didn't they do something like 10 years ago?
So we'll update that.
They just did some of it.
Okay.
And we have the closed door session. We'll discuss that item when we come to closed door session. Worked with Cal. I think it's up later on the agenda with regards to the consultant agreement.
Okay.
And so I think Cal will report on that. And then just working with staff on other issues. We provided a comprehensive list of all the properties, a number of properties that have encroachments into the conservation maintenance easement. So I'm in the process of taking a template I have of not a real harsh letter, but a friendly letter about, you got stuff in our easement, please take it
This is a
out.
follow-up to our people that
Conversation about-
came
yes.
at the last meeting.
So it's not going to be take the stuff out now. It's that you have materials, vegetation, et cetera, in our easement. At some point in time, we may have to come through.
You have an exposure.
Yes, just so that they're aware. Most people may not be aware of that. I remember years ago, I don't remember, years and years and years ago, the issue about bushes and trees and drainage easements and CMEs, landscape maintenance, lake maintenance easements came up, and the board at that time decided to just sort of let it lie.
Well, I'm assuming that a lot of these HOAs must not have DRCs to check that stuff before they approve a building.
Well, a lot of people may just also plant a tree or a bush in their backyard and nobody notices.
In other words, a wildcat, they do it on their own.
Yeah, and
No
whether or not they
approval.
put an irrigation line in, all those kind of fun things that pop up after time. I see it happen routinely when counties and cities do road right of way. They dig through a swale and all of a sudden, oops, up pops an irrigation line. That shouldn't be there. And that's it, just other routine matters, interacting with staff on a number of matters.
And under your section, you've got election.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, they put that under me. Thank you, Laura and Georgia.
Thank you, Georgia.
This is just the Lee County Supervisor of Elections has a really, really, really good special district person and also website, as you're well aware. And this is the information for those who want to file to run for election or re-election to a position as a supervisor on the district. It has the official candidate qualifying period. Noon Monday, June 13th, 2022 through noon Friday, June 17th, 2022. And the Florida statutes require that the district publish the qualifying period in newspaper. So I've been going back and forth with Marilyn Murphy of Infomark as to the language for that and when that will be published. So that'll be in the newspaper probably, I think it has to be probably in April, maybe late March, early April.
So each district on its own has to publish the same basically set of
Yes.
documents.
Yeah.
With the different seats, and that's,
Yes. And contact your local supervisor. Oh, yeah.
what is that, the Newspaper Full Employment Act?
The newspaper, we're running out of subscribers act. Yeah. So, every CDD has to do that. And so you'll see
So
that.
that's a 5-day period in which to stand as a candidate.
Yes.
Well,
Which
and
means
people can pre-file, pre-qualify and pre-file with supervisor elections if they want to. And that's, I always tell them, talk to the supervisor of elections, and one person assigned to do special districts. And that's the person to talk to you. I can get that name for the next board
If
meeting.
you haven't done it by the 17th,
You're out of luck.
you're out.
The 17th at noon, that's correct. That's correct.
Of June.
Of June.
Done.
All right, thank you, Tony. District engineer, Stephen,
It's actually Danny.
Danny.
Yeah, sorry guys. Steven is sick in bed with a over 100-degree temperature over the last few days. So we don't have anything on the agenda. I don't really have anything to update, but if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Danny, this is Bob. How's the lighting special coming that was supposed to be there last week and it's Thursday of this week?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't even know if he came down. I saw an email on it last week, Bob, but I'll apologize as I don't know where that one is at, if he come down yet or not even. I think he had emailed Steven, I think, looking for a confirmation on a date. And I don't know if I didn't see anything after that. So I don't know if he and Steven were talking directly, but I'll find out and report back.
I haven't seen anything except when
Okay.
I asked, getting old, I would like some follow-up.
No, he was supposed to be there I think the first full week of last week, the first full week of February, I believe. So yeah, I don't know. I'll find out what or why that didn't happen. It could be that he's wanting to collect data in advance of coming down, but I'm not positive. So I'll apologize. I'm not sure.
And that's the lighting specialist for.
Yeah, they've got one intersection in Pelican that is subpar lighting at the intersection, and they want to evaluate it and then make a recommendation for improving it. So that's what we're working on, and we were supposed to have been out there, I think 2 weeks ago now, last week or 2 weeks ago, and so I need to follow up and find out. So I'll shoot Laura back an email that she can distribute.
And just, for line of sight, will you copy Bob on that?
He'll get it.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll send it out to the board.
Sounds good. Other than that, I don't have anything
Danny,
pressing.
Is that, and Danny, is it Fred Middle or Middle? I always mispronounce it.
Middle.
Middle. We had a conference call with the team, including Fred and Steve Agapi, I think was introductory call with regards to the financing, do the validation. Brett Sealy, Blooms, come back with a proposal at March 7th.
I think we're aiming for the 3rd.
Third for Brett Sealy, proposing to be the handle the transaction from a financing standpoint.
Rhonda's been reaching out to me to get the information put together for that meeting.
Yeah, it will be a contact distribution list, so that this would be the long-term borrowing to take out the short-term 5-year note that we have for the various projects. And we'll discuss with the board, Brett's suggestions and our suggestions as to what amount. And Fred is working on the engineer's report. And Russell's on the call also, so we have the team pretty much assembled. And part of that meeting also will be asking you to authorize engaging Brett for the services we provide. And he's very familiar with the district. He's on the work.
Yeah, go ahead.
Danny, this Ed. Have you talked to Fred? We've got this roundabout with Griffin that's imminent. Have we completed our pre-construction project work to get our utilities out of the way in anticipation of the county starting on that road? Do we have anything that we haven't done yet in the way of utility relocation that we're responsible for?
Outside of the work that'll be done as part of that joint project agreement, no. But they, the work that has been done north that moves that force main is that pre-work. And
So what you're saying is some of the road work that they're going to be doing.
Their work that, as you know, will be done as part of the project.
So in other words, when they start construction and they close off lanes,
You broke up, Ed. Say again.
Said you broke up. Yeah, we lost him.
I just want to make sure that we don't have any issues on our side that aren't addressed, that could be addressed right now, and get them out of the way so we don't have any problem with the work.
No, short of anything unforeseen, everything shown on there, it'll be the same as with Commerce on the sequencing of construction. So there's work that still has to be done, but it'll be part of that work with Lee County.
Okay. If it's not foreseen, it's not gateway. There'll be something go wrong. There'll be something that we find that we didn't know was there.
When I talked to Fred, to the best of our knowledge, everything has been taken care of already. We even have the irrigation capped off and we're working on rerouting that so it's out of the way.
Well, I know we have some work to do once they get in and start
Right.
closing off.
Everything we can do
but
ahead of
everything
time,
else-
as far as we know, is taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Moving on.
Yes, sir.
Assistant District Manager report.
Tony did part of mine for me. I just wanted to, the loan finally successfully closed last week on the 8th, just as planned. So everything went well. The bonds, we are meeting. I actually have a meeting tomorrow with Fred and a couple other people from Tetra Tech, who I forgot their names right now, to go over the list of the capital projects. We interviewed several candidates for the business manager position. I have one potential good candidate for that. I'm gonna reach out to her tomorrow to talk to her. And then the license plate readers, the first one is online. It's up and running, and I checked the video, and we have some camera angle issues, but other than that, it seems to be working really well.
Yeah, just to add on to what Laura said about 2 items. One, they're working with the team. And we'll come back to the board. I think the recommendation would be, the validation will be any and all kinds of borrowing, whether it's 20-year borrowing from banks or whether it's bonds, or wherever will be issued. And on the license plate reader, you may or may not have seen the articles about lawsuits against City of Marco Island. For information, I pulled the complaint, just report action. And the main premise of that litigation is it's 3 years of data collection. And that seems to be the biggest rub. And Marco Island is only 2 ways in and out, well, other than by boat. So by roadways, you have 951, which goes Jolly Bridge, and then the other route is 92, which is good. So those are only really 2 roadways entrances into Marco. So the gist of the complaint of the 3 plaintiffs was, hey, you're infringing on our constitutional rights. It's a 4th Amendment unreasonable search and seizure. For 3 years, you're going to know where we're going and where we're coming. So it was mainly the data storage timeframe.
So they wouldn't have a problem if it was 30, 60 days.
Ours is 30. But
Tony,
yeah,
how does the Department of Transportation get around that with tolls?
I don't know how long they keep the record.
It's just a record keeping of time.
ours is, the records that we're collecting in there will only be kept for 30 days. And we aren't keeping anything here. It's all
Yeah,
online.
I look at it this way. My position is, and I don't know how they're treating it in Marco. My position is it's part of an access control system for the district, and it falls under the exemption for security documents. So I would take that position if someone really wants to challenge it in court, so be it. Maybe Marco will take that same position. I don't know.
Okay.
But on tolls, Doug, I don't know how long the state keeps that information in, or whether or not they can have that as confidential exempt also.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious, because it seemed like it might be parallel.
Yeah, we're not surprised because, for example, the information you provide the tax collector, property appraisal, is confidential.
Okay.
And if you pay towards development tax, those forms are confidential.
Okay.
But that's just a heads up. It was interesting reading about the lawsuit.
Okay. Laura, is that it for you?
Everything else I have will come up under the action items.
Okay. Mr. Connell, project manager update.
Scott Connell, interim project manager. I just have a quick few items for you to update. We took bids on Monday for the lake bank restoration, the next round of those ponds there, and I issued the summary. I think you got a copy of that. Overall bid summary. So Tetra Tech is currently analyzing all the bids, the details, all the documents, making sure everything's processed correctly. And we should hear back from them. But the apparent low bidder is one contractor for all of it, Met Tower Environmental, for all the ponds. We had 3 bidders. So
And was 9 or 7?
there were 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah,
Eight.
8. Yeah,
And one got them all.
one got them all.
Interesting.
And I did make a call to that one contractor, and he is going to prepare a tentative schedule and the number of crews they're bringing on to address his success.
It's a tight timeline.
Scott, as we're getting closer to your transition out, I think what might be pertinent as we get into maybe March is to really keep track on what you have in flight, and what you'll close, what still will be outstanding, and if there's any watch items or things. So
Absolutely,
and we'll figure out how that's going to transition. We'll take responsibility of that. But if you can help us, and I'm sure this is part of your plan anyway, your exit strategy. But you've done a really, really great job, and we appreciate, what you've done.
It'll all be detailed, what's transpired and what are the next steps, and be relayed to.
Hotel California, he can check out, but he can never leave.
Well, what they say, we'll leave the light on for you.
Yeah.
But thank you, Scott.
Okay. The next item is Daniel Preserve on the drainage concern. Extreme Divers, as they started a week ago Wednesday, excavating up on the northern end on Lake 6. And they have cleared all the end of the pipe. And now yesterday afternoon, they started penetrating the pipe coming from the lake south into the between the houses, almost to the street. Hopefully they'll make the street tonight. And then they've got to get processed. They're working from the park area on the north side right now. Then they'll have to move the rig tomorrow and work from the street to the lake to the south. And that's the one where the pipe is totally covered. We can't even find it on the lake side. So it'll be a little slow going getting that done, but they're making great
somewhere
progress.
there is a big.
It is 48 inches.
Big plug.
Yeah. So
have they experienced anything abnormal?
just around the mitered end on the lake side, a lot of large rock. There were some couple big chunks, but they were able to roll them out of the way. And once we get to they get to the south side and get that verified, then they'll order the elbows and have those made a couple days, and then get it all cleaned up and put in and sealed, and then we'll go from there.
Those rocks don't move on their own. They've been there since the beginning.
There was a bucket that dropped them.
We found the same thing.
Same thing at Pelican, same
Yeah.
thing
We
at
found
Stony
rocks,
Brook.
huge rocks. We found wheelbarrows.
Yep.
We found all kinds of tools, shovels and stuff. So you're exactly right. It's been there since day
Yeah,
one.
since the beginning.
The pipe appeared to be about half full at the mitered end.
Wow.
And then going back in, it tapers down as you get towards the street. So
Now,
we'll,
do we anticipate any impact of that flowway being flowable?
Open? No?
I'm sorry?
Well, we were saved by the wetlands. The conservation areas provided as storage because when those ponds went up, the water went in there. If we hadn't had these conservation areas, we would have
right
flooded
to the east, that probably
the
would
east.
have.
Well, I'm just thinking about, is there any unintended consequence that may happen by
Uncorking the
Now
bottom.
that everything will
uncorking the
be
bottom?
working
Yeah, I mean,
correctly?
any impact on water levels or?
The system will work.
I don't think so.
The water will go downhill. is what
Hopefully,
it'll do.
So-
hopefully it'll flush.
To your question, though, it should help us if the pipes are really clean,
Yes,
in advance of a storm.
and as long as there's
A
no
lot more
restrictions
time.
downstream.
I just didn't know if there was, a grade that,
No.
is controlled now. Once we unplug that, would it
There's
adjust?
nothing negative in clean pipes.
Okay.
It's all static.
No, it'll balance.
Okay.
Yep.
Then Monday, the resurfacing starts here at the soccer complex, and they'll be starting on the east parking lot first, down by the dog park. We've notified all parties, the leagues, the dog walkers, the bocce balls, the contractor, the county next door. We posted signs, we put it on the Facebook, and so we alerted everybody.
You're talking about this test track out here?
Yes.
Yeah, so the first part of the week,
God, finally be able to drive here and not chatter
Yeah.
your teeth.
so the first is to get the east parking lot done at the end, and then
Work
do
with
the other parking lot right across the street here, and then on their way out, do from our gate out to Griffin Drive.
Okay.
So they've got everything intact for that.
And who's doing it? So once it's done, are are we doing any lining or is there any painting any striping that will take place?
Yes.
Post, okay. Can you just look into something for me? The issue that we have is on this side, it becomes overflow parking. People come up on the hills and everything. I don't know if it would do anything, but I'm almost wondering if there's,
We're not paving that portion.
no, I
Okay.
understand that, but,
You mean underneath the no parking signs?
well, just.
Sorry, but yeah.
Right. Yeah,
You're
in
paying
between the no
attention.
parking signs, yeah. I'm almost wondering if we can maybe get a price on this. I don't know, so they will just stripe, like, what do they stripe on this road?
As far as the road, they're restriping the stop bar and the double lead line here at the Griffin Drive intersection.
Okay, but
That, and then-
nothing that goes.
And then inside the parking lot, all the stalls. and
The only thing I'm thinking, and this might be a waste of money, and it may not even do anything, but I'm almost wondering if maybe we could just get, maybe just no parking. Just paint it along. Printed along that sign in a couple strategic places because you see the signs and you think that'd be a deterrent, but maybe if it's not too expensive while they're doing it,
If that's the
I mean, if
desire
we
of
don't
the
think it'll
board,
do
we can
anything,
have it
which,
done.
I mean, I could flip a coin.
I don't think
Waste
they
of
would,
paint.
I don't think it's not gonna do anything. I think we talked about this before. Enforcement, when you hit them on their pocket, and that's the only time they're gonna stop. So I think and then once you do this first striping, then you're gonna forever undo it. Because then it's gonna need maintenance. So I would be opposed to that because we do have probably 20 signs out there and people still
We can
do it.
tow. We actually
We can
haven't-
tow,
yeah,
but we
haven't
have never
posted.
pulled that trigger. So I think at this
I
time.
mean, I was even thinking about, like even if there's, putting just something up, a barrier, even if it's just, rope and whatever, just to deter people.
Well,
'Cause
We had
my
that.
my
We
concern
had
is
that
like,
before.
because when you're up on that angle, and there's kids that are walking back and forth all the time. And if
Are you
you're
talking about up against the soccer fields or on the other side of the
on the other
street?
side
Yeah.
where the embankment is.
On this side,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, literally, there's people pulling up
Oh,
on
yeah.
the side.
I think that you did have barriers.
Yeah, we
that
had
they should
rope
have
at one
passed.
So maybe you and I can get
Then you have
together.
to take
and-
them down to maintain and cut the grass every week.
Yeah, I mean,
No, we didn't have to take them down. They mowed around it. They mowed behind it. It was like a cable, post cable.
Yeah.
Oh.
so maybe if we can look at something that would look nice, but not too expensive. Because all we're trying to do is just get people to stop parking there. And I understand the reason why they do, because the parking is limited, but we have the school that people can park to, and that's underutilized.
Well, how,
Except-
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
How about, get those stickers? And I mean, gosh, we use staff to do everything outside of their job responsibilities, have them put stickers in all the cars.
You're
Yeah, I mean-
parked in the wrong spot?
You put
Make
them,
it very
yeah,
difficult to remove?
yeah.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
I think that the solution is to put some type of barrier there so you can't park there. Because I think, and we've been fortunate, but every time I'm out there, when I see people pull up and when they back out, you cannot see
I know.
because of the angle if there's anyone behind you. And I think, and plus
Accident
it's not good for it's not good for the area as well.
Yeah.
So Elle, why don't you and I just get together, and if you have some solutions, maybe we can talk through it.
So you had something.
Okay. So,
Dare I say towing
I mean,
is an option? The
We-
board can
this-
designate that as a no parking tollway zone. We have that basic resolution.
Tickets cheaper.
I think you told us that we could because it's actually on our gate. It says no parking tollway zone and it lists a number
Right,
and
but-
everything on it.
But we have a resolution that says the board is going to designate it location by location.
Would we need to put a sign down there if we're gonna do that?
A sign as well as adopt another resolution designate.
That might not be a bad idea, just investing in the sign that Reds or somebody gives you, putting it out there and
Or again, the Troy, I would
it's a
suggest,
bluff.
I would suggest that, not a bluff.
No, I mean, it would, that's what we would like it to be, but all you have to do is pull one and they pay $300. It's not a bluff anymore.
You know, Reds will have 5 trucks there on Sunday.
Yeah, Reds will be out there, believe me.
Yeah, and then if it's towed after 5, good luck getting out until the next day. But, but no, what I would suggest is the board consider adopting a resolution, seriously designating that as a no parking tollway zone.
To get back to,
Then
if
the
it's
board
that
can then
dangerous, to
have
do
some
it.
teeth in that, and it's the board's option whether or not to call the tow truck or staff. If the board, and so it's there as a tool.
well, and two, it hasn't happened lately, but even OAK's entrance down there, people will park in front of that, and
Well,
that's
the
a whole
concern,
other-
the concern I have is that if the district has a tool available to implement that no towing, a no parking and towing policy, and there's always a number of lawyers out there that would love to sue as many people as possible if there was to be an accident. Because, you know, and say, hey, you had this duty because you now say no parking, but, and so you've created a duty on yourselves to implement that.
So we'll follow up on our options
If you can,
for that.
if you can send me the location, like on a map, Scott, or, you know, and then I can.
Especially now that we've brought it up, that it's a potential deal.
Yeah.
So the last thing we need to do is to do nothing about it.
That's correct. The M&M crowd would be after you.
I had one more. Scott, it's a kind of 11th hour thing, but we learned in Pelican that there is a benefit to sealing the road when this road has recently been resurfaced. Typically, we think of the sealing as just a cosmetic type of thing, you know, painting. But they said if you're starting with a fresh road surface and you seal it, that could help longevity in addition to being aesthetically pleasing. And I don't think it's all that expensive. So I'm suggesting if we redo all this, we might want to throw on or at least investigate putting a ceiling on.
So that's.
Yeah.
That's somewhat new information to me.
Yeah, it was new to me when we went through this
I've
at
been
the
told.
Avila Conference.
That's
I
what the
didn't go
ceiling company
otherwise.
said.
Well,
Yeah, who told you that?
The Tetra Tech people also agreed with it.
Yeah.
They said if you're putting it on freshly
Within 2
laid
years.
streets,
Within 2 years.
Most sealers, most contractors, and Atlantic Southern is one of them, will not put a sealant on it for 1 year.
okay, whatever the appropriate time.
Yeah.
They didn't say that. They just said it's
So maybe as you're going through this,
it's very good.
maybe that's
Just something to
you-
consider.
But to get the longevity, you got to do it every 5 years.
Whatever. I mean,
That's
if
the
it
catch.
really enhances our value, then we should consider it.
Okay.
It's a hell of a lot cheaper than resurfacing.
Scott, what else you
We met with, over in Pelican Reserve at the, in the Casella, the access to the weir, number 3. We had a question a couple weeks ago about that it wasn't graded and built correctly per the plans and permit. And so we met with them and we came to an agreement that it is not built correctly and they are getting their contractor to regrade it, eliminate the berm that's there, that is between the driveway and the lake bank. And so they understand it. Elle and I met with them, with Lennar and their grading contractor. And they told us we'll take care of it.
Right.
So
got? What's the time frame on that? They give you a,
they didn't give us a time frame. They're still negotiating with their sub.
okay, got it.
So
I still have some concerns. Wait and see what they do.
you have
But
to
we
give
don't
them
want to create a
opportunity.
bathtub in a pond 38 situation.
Yeah, but we also addressed, they're going to move the spring courts out of the access way. They already laid it out, their surveyors, and they know what to address. We went over all the questions and
And
Tetra Tech was available.
the pond directly behind the last building in Casella has an extremely steep slope. So make sure that's
Yep.
all addressed. And it comes back to 4 to 1. If all those things are satisfied, we'll love it. And
Wait
I
and
will
see.
be a part of that too. They're going to.
Yeah, wait and see. So we'll keep you
And
apprised.
Xanter, yeah, Doug Xanter, Pond Street.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, anyway, that's
Okay.
some of the current things. Thank you.
Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, Elle, did you have something today?
I did.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Elle Harris, Gateway Services District Stormwater. Actually, I have a few items. I'm going to actually stand in for Jim as well today. Also on that, one more thing on that Karina Weir access. I had a call from the city of Fort Myers. They were out there. Lennar had called in for a final inspection. They said it was substantially complete. But when the city
That's-
called, when the city called me, I let them in, I filled them in on the little situation there and had them look at that building. I'm like, if you're standing there at that cul-de-sac, look at that building on the right and tell me how that's going to work out for that resident come July, August, and September. It's in a hole. They're going to have water in their patio and front doors. So yeah, that regrading has to happen. Not only for the weir.
Elle, on that point, did the city indicate they were going to issue a notice of correction to the WCI?
They indicated they were definitely not signing off on the project as completed.
If they were to issue a notice of correction.
I can ask them. I can call them tomorrow and ask them.
Little incentive.
Is there any questions on my report, my stormwater report?
Seeing a lot of activity with the new vendor out around the ponds.
Yes.
They were raking the other day along the golf course with the huge vegetation buildup along the edges, taking these rakes and going out 6-7 feet, pulling back the material and
Right.
hauling it off. So that's the first time I've seen that in, I don't know how long.
Well, the direction was to go out and, well, first of all, to spray that. And then once it's sprayed, to cut it and then haul it out.
I didn't see the cutting, but I definitely saw them
Oh.
raking, and I figured they did something to sever it. But we are seeing around the community, at least on Gateway Greens, a lot of activity
Good.
by this contractor.
And now what's the, just because I don't know, so the order of operations, you spray, cut, and then rake. Why do you cut?
It was tall vegetation. Normally, we don't go in. Normally, it's just sprayed out and we leave it and it decomposes and it goes away naturally.
And then
But this was the bulrush that was out there.
So it was
And
the excessive height.
It
What's
was
the normal
pretty-
duration between spray and rake? Just out of curiosity.
it takes 7 to 10 days up to 2 weeks before you really start seeing the vegetation dying after it's sprayed. Because it's a systemic herbicide that has to be drawn in by the plant. So you spray it and let it take it in. And by giving it that chance to take it in, now it's going to take it down to the roots and hopefully eliminate that plant.
Yeah.
And then they cut the top off. That reduces the amount of organic matter that is left in the pond.
Okay, because I was thinking it would be opposite. So if you cut off, you'd have organic matter or organic matter that would settle into the pond that may or may not be raked back up. So I thought that might be adding additional organic matter to the pond as opposed to spraying it and then coming back and raking it, because then you'd have zero left over. So,
Right, but you need an actively growing plant to absorb the systemic
So you're cutting it
herbicide.
off,
And
but it
that
also
way it's,
stimulates
yeah,
growth to
that
the
way
soil.
it's eliminating it.
all right,
And
I was just
also
curious.
now too, they're under direction that if it pokes its little green head back up above the water again, to spray it immediately.
Yeah, if you just cut it, it's gonna come back.
No, I understand that.
And
My
especially
point was you
bulrush.
spray it, it's gonna kill it, and then you're gonna rake it. I just didn't understand why you would cut it, because that just adds, you
Just
know,
volume.
yeah, just
And it
adds,
looks ugly.
yeah, when you cut it, yeah.
It looks ugly.
So,
It's just
okay. I
decomposing.
just didn't know if there was a
And
logical
it takes a
reason, so.
while.
I do have two questions. Any update on the fire,
I've contacted several burn contractors, and I've gone to the Division of Forestry website for a list of their authorized burn contractors. I can't find one within the 5-county area at this point. Well, right now is not the time because of the wind and, it's just the wrong time of season. But most of them have given up their licenses or they don't have the insurance that is required to do that.
Who's the one
So-
we used back in
Friendly Fire.
Friendly Fire?
Is that, was that Commons? Did
That
we do the
was-
island over at Commons Park? a couple
No, we
years ago?
I haven't burnt, that's the one I want to get done,
that-
that one and the one
Yeah.
behind it, but in particular, there's a couple of other areas I would like to get some attention on. This one over here behind Daniels Preserve and Timber Ridge, the particular vegetation that grows in there just seems to benefit greatly to get a good burn.
And just out of
And that
curiosity,
also gets rid of a lot of the biomass that builds up after 2 or 3 years of herbicide treatments, especially with the nut rush. There's a lot of biomass after
and
that.
the Forestry Service doesn't have anyone that does
They
control
will-
burns?
They direct you to their list of certified
Okay.
burn
Friendly
contractors.
Fire's out of business.
Friendly Fire's out of business as far as that
Okay.
goes. It doesn't mean I've come to a halt. I've just got to just keep going down the list. Some of them are a little bit far out, but in the meantime, I have requested from our vendor a proposal to do some pruning back of that particular island to pull those wax myrtles. That's what's drops out. Wax myrtles and the willows, but I've asked them for a proposal to do some pruning in that around that island at the end of Lake 84. and for a proposal to remove pepper trees on Lake 80. That's there behind the old Comcast building. There's one bank that is just, it's all. One thing I do want to mention, I'm glad I thought of that. Lake 79, the one that you thought is, there's only one pepper tree on that lake bank. All of those other trees on that lake bank are cypress trees and green buttonwood and a couple of oak trees that are on the backside.
Just Daniel,
There's only, yeah, and looking at that slope of that bank, if there wasn't anything on it but sod, we would still
Wouldn't
not
hold.
be able to drive down it.
wouldn't hold.
It would not. It would, it's so steep and so narrow.
You're right.
Even if there wasn't a tree on it, they would not be able to get a buggy in there.
Who's the county using for their burns?
Yeah, they just did one.
They got.
I don't know. I don't know. I can ask them.
Find out who's doing theirs.
Yeah, they just did
And I would
one.
ask them too, when do they
It's
have these?
probably forestry, which like I say, I did contact forestry department, Caloosahatchee division. They worked with us before to do some burns, but they are just so busy right now. They don't even have time to talk about it.
And I would ask the county too, if they have any controlled burn scheduled.
Piggyback.
Yeah.
So who do they use and when is their next, what does their control burn schedule look like for the next year?
Got it. I also checked, maybe you noticed here, I don't know, but dock contractors. I contacted five local vendors, Stokes, Haunch, Florida Marine Services, I've contacted 5 of them. 3 of them declined due to the location and or the stone. I have 2 that are a possibility. Now, they both told me that we need an engineered design to pull a permit
And what is this for?
for the dock,
For the boat.
Across the street for the.
for the
boat.
dock, for the remote control boats.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I just not mean to interrupt you. So the last 3 Sundays I've been coming out to see, and we have usually 1 or 2 gentlemen, and that's it. I was concerned on last Sunday because I saw they had 2 kayaks out on that pond, and then they had 3 buoys. I thought we said
Why don't they just put
1.
the buoys in and leave them?
I don't know.
That's what they were doing with the kayaks, putting
Yeah,
the buoys
so
out.
I wouldn't, because
I did,
I'd much rather them not be going
In
in
and
and out. So just
out.
put the buoys out there and leave them permanent.
That's
not
where
a
they
big deal.
are.
Not gonna
Mhm.
hurt anything.
And that just limits, just risk of,
Exposure there.
of anything.
And that's what they did, and that's what they were doing with the
So are they
kayaks, was
permanently out
putting
there
the,
now?
yes,
Oh, they
they're
are?
not
Okay.
gonna
Yeah.
take
They
them
weren't
out.
last
yeah,
Sunday.
no, yeah, last Sunday I saw the 2 of them out there. Because when I saw I started laughing. I'm like, okay, I knew it was gonna happen. And then I saw there was the two gentlemen. And then I left. I went to lunch. I came back, and then I stayed there and watched it. And it was just the 2
Well, it
gentlemen.
was cold
They-
last Sunday,
they-
so there might be a deterrent
Yeah, I
there.
mean, maybe so, I think, if you get someone, fine, if we just get a quote, but I think
Gotcha.
desirable is put the buoys up, have them make it work. It's not like it's,
Well, I reached out to Tetra Tech, like I said, because the vendors are telling me that they, what kind of dock do you want? Well, I kind of explained it and sent them some pictures I found on the internet that would probably work. A floating dock, but not a floating dock. It has to be permanently attached. And, they're just all of them told me, if you need a design, you need an engineered design to pull a permit with.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Tetra Tech to get their advice and or assistance, and so.
I think something like that, if there was a club and they wanted to fundraise and
Mhm.
fund a project like that, I would be open to it. But as far as us carrying the cost for that, I think at this point,
It'll be
Yeah.
5 digits.
I think
before you're
there's
done.
other
Yeah.
things too. There's the sidewalk, there's handicap entrance or
Yeah.
accessibility. There's all
yeah.
ADA.
I mean, I would
and
love
it
for us to
just
have a
keeps
couple fishing
going.
docks around here, but
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's in the grand scheme of things, we have more important things to focus on. But thanks for looking into that, Bill.
You got it. No
I wouldn't
worries.
spend a whole lot of time on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to even pursue Tetra Tech telling us what it would take.
You may just tell Tetra Tech, never mind, and
Because
I
I
would.
kind of think if it's there, then it's going to be used.
Well,
I don't want to spend a fortune on it.
Why don't we get a price proposal from them? and
Yeah.
go from
Okay.
there?
all right.
I mean, it's another amenity for residents. I mean, that's as simple as that.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood. We'll just kind of keep going as we're going, just.
Yep.
Um,
So we need to write a check, then we'll.
That's when you get my attention.
We did have a cracked 18-inch storm drain pipe on Venetia. It was repaired with a UV liner. MRI took care of that. They also repaired the 2 drain boxes on that road. Both of the beams on the drain boxes on both sides of the road, the concrete beams were broken. So they also repaired that concrete on top of the drain boxes so that the drain grates fit properly and sit flat. And now they lined that pipe, and it looks, boy, it's really solid. The way they do that's very interesting to see. We had the Pelican Preserve landscape contract bid opening on the 14th. We received 3 bids. The packages were provided to Castle Group and the Pelican Preserve Advisory Group Committee for them to review and make their recommendations. That's going to come from PPAC.
Was it a wide range of dollars?
Yeah, the dollars,
2 of them were close and one.
yeah, one was a little,
higher.
yeah,
But I
but
don't
2
know
of them were really close. You know, we had some really close numbers for such a large package. And so I think we must have done a fairly decent job with
Oh,
our. Yeah, unless there's any other questions. Oh, I have the contract documents. I have sent them to district council and to management for the video inspection of Basin 4. MRI has completed the cleaning of Basin 5. So as soon as we get the video inspections, as soon as that one gets approved and gets out there, I'll put together the packet for the cleaning once the video is done.
So these are basically as-built.
Yeah.
Follow up.
Anything else for Ellen?
Yeah, just to refresh my mind. Which basin did we do last year?
We did 5,
Half
Basin
of
5.
Okay, and this year we're
We
doing.
finished
Four.
5.
And this year, well, I'm putting out the bid to video inspect to start with, Basin 4.
Okay, so we haven't done it yet, but we're going to.
No,
We've
Done.
not done
We
it yet.
just finished
yeah, we finished 5.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
5's big.
Yeah.
5's pretty big.
Big.
4's not little,
Yeah.
but 5's pretty big.
All right.
Then
Thank you, Elle. We appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you.
She's doing Jim's,
Okay, moving on to action items.
she's doing
Well, she has
Jim's.
Jim. Do you have any
Oh.
questions on
Oh, I'm
Jim,
sorry,
the
that was-
landscape?
She's got part B.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Apologies.
No worries. On the landscape maintenance report, you know, I did, of course, you know, I talked with Jim about this, knowing that I would stand in for him. He did want me to maybe mention that, you know, other than what he's got written up on his report, they are scheduling quarterly meetings with Mainscape, with the Mainscape core group. Jim and Laura
We
are
had a
sitting
first one.
down with them.
We had our first one today.
And he said that it went, and Laura said it too, that went really well. And they think that they're going to continue to do this just so that it helps to everyone to know where everyone's at in the maintenance efforts out in the landscaping.
Jim had a proposal in here for the,
That's coming up later in the action items. I got that.
oh, that's someplace else. Okay.
I'll take care of that one.
Anything else for Jim I can
Storage.
pass along?
No, ma'am.
Thanks, El.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You got the other part, Laura?
I do.
You're
Okay.
taking D?
No, that'd be Ken. I don't know if Kenny want to talk about that. You just said, Mr. Tinkle asked that if you put on the agenda, so we did. He's online. I see Kenny online. I think that's him.
Hey, Kenny?
Yeah, it's him.
It's muted on his end.
Yeah, I didn't read him.
Was there any specific?
Yeah, what I want to do is to move this along. We've got equipment setting out here, and it's a shame that this stuff isn't protected. Down here, you just don't do that stuff. You don't leave your car out. And I certainly wouldn't, I don't want to do it with our equipment. I think trying to find a place to rent, it's either going to be cost prohibitive here in Gateway because the prices are so high, or going so out and away, it's just logistically tough to do. I'd like a happy medium. We'll look at something like maybe a 2,000 square foot building, expandable, put in the concrete pad, such where it would be if we want to go 3,000 square feet, make the pad 3,000. That's the cheap stuff. And only put up the building to 2,000 square feet and then make it expandable when perhaps prices get a little bit better, but at least chase down what we need to do to move this along. I hate to see that equipment just sitting out. It's ridiculous.
The pad, what is the size of the pad that we currently have there that was an option
The
for us
one
to
that,
use?
Kenny and I talked about that some more after that, and we probably are not gonna be able to.
I
get
went back
permission to
there.
put it-
It's
no,
not an
very
ideal
small.
location.
and
No,
it's-
we'd have to do it out here. No.
No, I mean, you got
Not our
pipe,
property.
you got pipe around there. It's just,
Yeah, it's
you know.
not a good location.
not a good-
Now there's other space back there, but go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, we need to do it over here.
Kenny Hall, utility director. We did ask the county if we could go back there and put a small building on that slab, and they're good with that. But putting a full-blown building, they're never going to go for that.
It's small too. I mean, it's-
And as an alternate, that was an alternate place for a possible generator back there, would be on that concrete pad. But a big full-size building, the county will never go
So
for.
really the space we have is right out here.
I want to make sure this doesn't drop. We need to get this going and take it to the next level, at least to know what we need to be doing to try to solve this storage problem.
We put $150,000 in the budget for this year for the building.
Well, there's an advertisement. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it was on during Super Bowl even. This company that's doing the metal buildings, and they had one that was 40 by 60, which is what, 2,400 square feet? I mean, that's right down the line. And the prices they were quoting, now you know that there's the asterisks in there. This doesn't include X, Y, Z and all the, no
Material
concrete,
design,
no
right.
engineering, no
Yeah.
permits. But the issue is the price for the actual structural deal was
Well,
very,
that's,
very low.
I think that's what Austin found too when he gave his proposal. The building, the structure itself is the least expensive part of the process. It's everything else that makes up the cost.
Which is what? What would be the additional cost?
Well, you have the slab, the electricity. and
It's
then
site
there's
work,
something.
slab. It just depends on if you're
Yeah.
gonna do anything to where you have to have water and utilities.
Well, that's
within
what I
the
was
building.
thinking. I was
I
like,
don't,
how
we
do
don't
you
need
get ahead
that.
of it, but if you,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
I'd like to remind everyone that we have automobile dealers all over Lee County leaving their brand new automobiles and trucks sit out day and night and without even a thought of constructing $1 million building to protect them.
They
I
sell-
can't help but think we're going down the wrong track here.
They sell that equipment to somebody else or those cars to somebody else. Ours, we keep. That's the difference.
So I
So
think,
you say,
yeah, so
you
Kenny,
can't sell them if they're damaged.
so Kenny, I think what we're trying to say is we need to keep pushing with creative options, and then we can make a determination of whether it's viable. And I think it's risk reward, right? So we need to understand, where, I think we do understand to a certain extent, but if we can just continue, maybe, I mean, I know you've done some due diligence here, but I think we just continue, and could we phase it? As
I
far
think
as,
that's the way to do it. is to phase it.
And also on this round, with what we budgeted for this year in the inventory budget, we could contain back in the back. It's just if we start going full blown where we get pretty much mimic every piece of equipment, critical piece of equipment is where we're really going to start getting stacked up. And then you just remember that for everything on the potable side that you get on the sewer side, it's different. So they're not interchangeable. You can do it in emergency, but especially on the ductile iron with sewer and the sewerage system, it's a different, it has to be lined on the inside. So it's a
so I
different.
would just say keep this from a research and planning perspective as a high priority, and let's just, let's not lose sight of, what we can do and when we need to do it before it becomes critical.
Even if it's phased. Even if it's phased.
All right.
Back to the cars. I bought a new Ford in 2015. It's been in my driveway for 7 years now. Looks great.
I park mine
So
outside.
not everybody parks indoors. And I'm not saying that that's not a good thing to do, but not everybody has the luxury of living in paradise like some of us. I live in a ghetto. It's, a cheap neighborhood.
Yeah, says the guy from Pelican.
You guys don't have water pressure over there either, do you?
Oh, no, we do. Oh, we got it now.
Okay, moving forward.
Even on the fourth floor.
So we will start with action items. Item 4A, third amendment to the interlock agreement.
I think would be helpful, and Mr. Chairman and Laura, if you agree, for the county staff to make their presentation at roundabout, because it sort of ties into it, because part of the Third Amendment deals with the water feature.
Yeah, and I know Cecil,
In fact, that's the focus of the Third
Cecil's
Amendment.
supposed to be here. I thought he'd be here by now, but on his way. Okay.
He's looking for a certified burn contractor.
So can we get started with just the overview?
Yeah, go the overview.
And
You guys go ahead.
Hopefully it cooperates. If not, let me know and
Let me
then
just-
look at.
I'll just have to tell you to switch them. We'll go back wrong way.
and if you won't mind, just introduce yourself.
Yeah,
for the record.
yeah.
Oh, just real quick, Laura, all the board members have that latest iteration?
Yeah.
Of the agreement,
Oh, the agreement?
the amendment? I thought it was supposed to be.
I
didn't see it.
Thought I sent it
I
out.
just-
I will print it.
Okay, if you can have Georgia make 10 cents.
Yep.
Thank you. So we can go over the highlights. Thank you.
Okay, for the record, my name is Dan Craig. I'm with Cardinal and Stantec, and our design team is representing the county or working for the county on this project. I have with me today Dana Fenwick, who is our landscape architect. She's with Green, and on the line, we have John Willett, who is with the Freeport Fountain Groups, who are our fountain designers. Our goal here today is to kind of give you a quick presentation here and go through the concepts that we've developed with the idea of that you identifying your favorite one at the end of this, and that we can move forward with our design process. As we know, we're here about the Gateway Griffin intersection and what we've done. Just a quick overview, if you will. We have a street view of it on the left-hand side there, and you can see that we have the aerial view on the right-hand side. So everybody knows it's just right down the road there. Extremely, pretty busy intersection there. Our firm has moved forward with a roundabout design, and that has moved forward to about the 90% stage thereabouts. But we're here today to talk about the center of the roundabout. And so that's just the green area in the center of the exhibit right there. Right here, we have a picture of the Skyplex fountain there. And the reason I bring that up is that we were involved with that, and just kind of give you a little perspective of kind of what we're talking about here. So moving forward with that, and I think everyone's pretty familiar with that roundabout and that fountain if you've spent any kind of time in the area. So on the left-hand side here, we have the geometry of the Skyplex roundabout. As you can see, the dimensions are on the bottom there. The gray area around the roundabout is the truck apron. That's pretty common with all roundabouts. And then we have a 30-foot green area, which is a landscape area, and then a 60-foot diameter in there of the actual fountain area. So we have about 120 feet across, not counting the truck apron, to work with on that particular project. And to give it a little perspective, the Gateway and the Griffin roundabout on the right-hand side, you'll see we still have the gray area, which is the truck apron, which is about 12 feet there. But we only have about 12 feet of green area that's around the whole thing. And then 40 feet for the fountain. So we're about 2/3 the size of what you see at Skyplex, an area to work with.
Can you just go back really quick to that slide?
Sure.
And the design consideration for this is really based on one of the key areas is the pull box.
The manhole.
The manhole.
Yes.
That's what's called that's what's driving some design constraints.
That's correct.
Yeah. So I just want to, and I think we're all aware,
So,
but for those in the audience, just want to make, and those online, as we go through this, there are some special considerations that had to be made for that pull box. So you can't just design anything.
Right. So that manhole, I can just talk about it right now. There's sewer lines coming in and out of that manhole. There's 4 of them, north and south and east and west, right? And so the manhole is basically in the northwest quadrant of the roundabout that we have to deal with, just off center a little bit. So we're aware of that, and we have some ideas for that as we get further in this to work on that. Our team, Freeport Fountains, has done a lot of different fountains throughout Florida in different areas. And the reason I put this up here is because, as you can see, there are numerous different ideas that you can go with in these type of projects. And so we were charged with trying to corral that in and come up with some fountains that are a little more applicable to your roundabout. So some of the common features that Dana's going to go over, she's going to go over the concepts with you, but I want to go through some of the common fountain features. The structure will be poured in place concrete with integral waterproofing. There'll be precast and tiles on the inside of the fountain finishes. And as you know, finishes can vary. You've got to sort of think of it like if you redo your kitchen, you can do all kinds of finishes, right? So it's the same thing with this. The precast and painted stucco on the outside of the fountain will have brass, bronze, and stainless steel fittings for all the nozzles and fittings. The lighting will be LED lighting. It can be submersible, and the light colors can vary. You can pick and choose what you want on those. We'll have interconnected piping with wire and conduit throughout. The sanitary sewer manhole that you had mentioned is one of the key features, and we know that we have to maintain access to that. We will have an underground vault with aluminum access hatch. That vault will go in the green area of the roundabout. In that vault, we contain the recirculation pumps, the filter pumps, the chemical feeds, the exhaust fans, those type of things. Also have a control panel that will monitor the water levels in the fountain. We'll also have time clocks on all those pumps. And there'll also be a wind gauge in there so that if we have a very windy day, you can bring the fountain spray down or you can put it back up to normal.
Is that manual or is it automated?
It's automated.
It's automated. So if you get high winds, it will automatically readjust the pressure.
Yeah, and part of the basis for that was, as per the agreement, we have, I'll call it underlying interlocal agreement for the roadways. The district has certain responsibilities and duties and liabilities. And so I was concerned about overspray.
Right.
Because if the roadway gets wet, somebody alleges they slipped or fell or algae or mold, that way it's controlled.
Yeah.
Plus the land, if there's any landscaping, it will help prevent blow over to them and kill them.
Well, and then that was the last item on here is that the green space around there will have landscaping and irrigation associated with that.
Right.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dana and let her go through the various concepts. I believe you all got a quick preview of them, and she'll just go through them in a little more detail.
Yeah, the manhole that you mentioned is the, does this have a laser? Oops. Okay. Okay,
It's not fancy.
It's located kind of in this sketch, it's in the upper left-hand corner, the little square thing you see there. And and that's on this particular concept, that's what we're proposing doing is this one is the most similar to the Skyplex fountain that's just reduced in scale. And then, yeah, this is a little bigger view here. So this concept has the central upper pool with the vertical jets, and then it overflows into the second pool, which then overflows down the, it's a textured precast, not stone, but concrete that finish that kind of kicks up the water and makes it white water. So it creates some kind of texture when it goes down the slope there. And then it slopes down to the bottom pool. And the difference that we would do in this concept from the Skyplex fountain is because of the manhole, we're going to disguise that in one of the 4 pedestals that are located around which would be located in the sloped texture area. So it would become kind of a part of the fountain feature, and the manhole collar could be raised.
So you're gonna have a riser come up
right,
and just essentially raise the access to the manhole.
Right.
That's what we figured you'd do.
And then we can come up with some kind of removable top, or even the manhole cover might be on top, because I don't know how visible it might really be.
You can get those sealed manholes with the rubber O-rings and all that to prevent anyone from going in. So
you texture the top,
yeah,
you won't even see it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how we've kind of dealt with the manhole on this concept. And the only thing I would point out is that the maintenance people, to get to the manhole access, would have to across the lower pool. So they'll have to wear some, some
Well, you're gonna
waders.
shut the
but-
water off when you're doing
Right.
that deal
Yeah.
anyway. I would venture to say that in 36 years, that manhole's never been opened.
Yeah. So, and what's common to all of these concepts is that they're all dealing with about a 40-foot radius to the outside extent of the pools, the outer pools, and about a consistent, 12-foot landscape space. And then we're showing conceptually some large palms, like royal palms or something, around the outside there. And those are all located so that when you have the 4 approaches that come into the roundabout, that they kind of frame the view. They're not in front of the fountain whenever you're coming up the lane, but it's kind of offset. So you have, it frames the view to the center of the fountain. So that's kind of common to all of the concepts. And this one, we've kind of put together some pros and cons for all of them. And this one is, this one is, there's a local example and people like it. It's a fairly simple design. And it's the vertical jets and the frothy water action that create the interest. And the cons would be that this would be the 3rd one in the local area, because there's one planned for another one at the intersection of Skyplex Boulevard and Chamberlain. Is that right, Dan? Okay.
Oh, so the one that's there now on down the road will be another one.
Yes.
Right.
But
And actually,
are their dimensions the same as this though?
yes, it would be almost exactly the same dimensions
The
as
second
this.
one, the first one's much bigger.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
gotcha.
The second one would be right at this size. So, so this one would be, the 3rd one, that same look. And then again, the manhole access and the maintenance are the cons on this concept. So concept B, we're calling the 4 points. And this one deals with the manhole by kind of avoiding it. And the upper left-hand scallop kind of wraps around the
So it's not a
manhole.
full deal, it's segments.
Right,
water.
right, yes. And so, next slide, just bigger. So this one, it has the central fountain with an obelisk that would have some scuppers that would flow over into the upper pool, and then weirs that would flow over into the 2nd pool or the 3rd pool, and then down this one might have actual water steps or a textured slope like the Skyplex to create the white water, and then down into the lower pools at the tips of the 4 points. And this one it kind of sets up some nice landscape spaces within the kind of the scalloped areas, and again the palms around that frame the fountain. And I kind of like this one because it's a little different from the Skyplex in that when the Skyplex fountain kind of is dependent on the jets to create the interest, and on a windy day, the anemometer will take the jets down to a lower level. So on this type of fountain, it has more of a architectural centerpiece type feature that it looks good whenever the water's turned off too. So
I'm just curious,
yeah.
because that's the first thing I noticed, that it did not have the fountain in the middle.
Right.
And that's purely from a different from a design concept, right? But would it be possible to do a fountain in the middle of this one?
Yes, you could.
Okay.
You could replace the obelisk with
Yeah,
jets.
'cause I kind of like
Yeah.
that
So little
fountain.
privy, what is it? It's Italy privy fountain?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
mean, excuse me, do you mean adding a fountain on the top of that
Or-
structure, or replace the structure with?
In the
with
center.
water?
In the center, where
center.
you've got your
Replace it.
two water outlets.
Mhm.
The only reason I asked the question is because we're somewhat limited on the height that we can go. and
Yeah.
Still control.
Yeah, well, I don't think
We
you need
might-
to go too high, almost to the limit of where the top of the structure would be here.
Yeah.
So what do you call that top layer? What's it?
This one is the obelisk
So the
centerpiece.
obelisk,
Would become more of a vertical
replace
jet.
that with a vertical fountain.
You
And
could do
there's
that.
4
Single
fountains coming out of the obelisk, one on each side.
Right,
It'll show.
right.
And the advantage with this one is that it keeps you in a lesser area for the manhole.
Right. This one, the manhole is in one of those landscape spaces.
And just so I'm correct, Bob, the question you asked, that obelisk has four water flow outlets.
Yes,
Okay,
right.
so the image that you have to the left looks
Yeah,
like
I
this
missed the
too.
one in the middle.
Okay.
You see straight on it's four.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
right,
Well, that might
right.
change.
Cricket troughs, whatever. right?
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
And then the weirs that come down from the upper pool into the middle pool. So again, this one, the pros, I think, are the graceful lines and that the manhole is outside the footprint of the fountain. And that the structure, architecture itself looks good when the pump is off, and that the form sets up some nice landscape spaces. The cons are that you might have a little less water action than the Skyplex version, or one of the other options you'll see. And it's a little more complex construction because of the undulating lines and curves that would be a little more challenging to form.
Is there going to be a cost evaluation between A, B, C, D, E later on?
We did some cost estimating, but
Are they all cost neutral pretty much?
There's a slight difference.
yeah.
Okay.
When we get.
We're not paying it, so.
Yeah, I think
it's going to go with the.
Yeah, I think if these are three options, if we have a
Okay.
preference, there are three options that they would do. So the cost really isn't.
When he's paying, we're okay.
Respectfully. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this is concept C, and calling this one the Cloverleaf fountain. And it also has, like the Skyplex concept, it has the manhole kind of disguised in one of the pedestals that are the four pedestals around the fountain. This one has some elements similar to Skyplex. It has the vertical jets in the top center. And then either you could have scuppers that shoot down into the water steps, or you could overflow on the sides from the upper pool too. And then you have water steps that come down that are divided with some kind of wing walls. And then the lower pools, I'll have lower jets in those. So this one would
You
have.
can access the manhole without in the water.
Right, yeah. This one is out on the edge. So,
But this has a structure, and then it has a.
I like the shape of two, but I'm just kind of partial to the fountain in the middle. I don't know. Probably because I don't have any frame of reference for the other one. So. Okay.
And all of these are roughly about the same height to the top of either the centerpiece obelisk or the centerpiece or the center jets. They're all roughly 18 to 19 feet. And that's kind of the rule of thumb for when you're designing fountains. The splash zone is usually the height is roughly equal to the radius. So that is kind of the kind of design standard. And this one, the pros, has a lot of the vertical action and the water steps on the jets. And the structure would still look good when the pump is off because it kind of has some interest going on with it. The cons are that the manhole access is within a pedestal, but it is a little more accessible than the A option. And this one is a little more complex construction too, just with there's quite a bit of architecture going on. So.
Yeah, and from your experience, when you look at these three options, we're looking at what it's going to be, what do we prefer, for the community.
Right.
But also from a district perspective, we have to look at maintenance, right? I think option two
There's one more yet.
Oh, there's one more?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
there's one more.
I thought there were
No,
three.
there's
I'm sorry.
more.
Okay, keep going.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. And this one, option D, is just kind of some tiered radial pools. And this one is asymmetrical, and we kind of want to do one that was just a little different from, the classic centerpiece. And this one also, the manhole is located outside the fountain structure, so it's in the landscape area. And so this would have an upper pool with an obelisk or some kind of centerpiece. And then the three pools would kind of have either weirs or cascade down into the lowest pool. And then each pool would have the lower vertical jets. And in there, it does, the little jogs do kind of create some nice little landscape areas. And with this one, since it's asymmetrical, it kind of has a front and a back. And I tried to guess what the most heavy traffic would be to orient the front more towards those two streets.
7-Eleven gets the best view. That's what it boils down to.
It's true.
Mr. Chairman,
So that's
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Guy,
okay.
I'd like to know who's going to be responsible for cleaning it out when the youngsters fill it up with soap suds.
You're heading towards the direction of the agreement, Mr. Guy.
That's the maintenance issue we definitely have.
We'll get into that, but the concept that the county has put forth is if you want it, we'll show you proposed plans. Once you pick the concept, you can comment and review it. We, the county, will decide. Well, thank you for your input. And once it's built, we, the district, will perform all maintenance and be responsible for anything and everything, including if a car runs into it, including soap. So, did I simplify it, David? And if the district
you
fails,
build it, we maintain it.
correct. And if the district fails to maintain it and the county sends us a nasty gram saying, fix it, your default, we have 90 days to cure it, or the county can take it out and bill us, bill the district.
To go back to what Doug said, now that we've seen all four, on the maintenance side, obviously, your experience, A, B, C, and D, what's the maintenance level on those?
I don't know if there's really a difference between
Not a
any
huge,
of the.
huge difference. You have to look at it. We do have a rough maintenance cost. It's sort of like maintaining a swimming pool. And roughly our fountain designer has told us that costs are running about $400 a month, something like that. To maintain these things.
What now? Do all of them have single pump, or a couple of them have triple pumps or dual pumps?
They won't be a single pump. They help dual, triple for redundancy.
So all of them would have, no matter which one you select, you have 3 pumps.
I'm not sure. You know, if John's on the line.
Yeah, John, can you, he's on the go-to meeting.
I was just trying to gather.
So could you repeat your question?
Does each one of the options have 1, 2, or 3 pumps, or are they different, or are they all the same?
So, well, that would depend on as we get further along in engineering, but at a minimum, each one would have an independent filter pump for a filtration system, and at least one or possibly more than one display pump that would run the water features themselves.
Okay, thank you. Then the rest of it, gravity flow. Discharge, emptying it. What's the methodology for draining?
So typically the draining would just be pulling a plug and it would gravity drain to storm or sanitary, whichever you all decide that this water should go to.
Okay. Well, obviously it'd be nice for it to go to a storm sewer, but accessibility in that area, you got a natural with a sanitary sewer right there. And the volume of water we're talking about dumping into it is nowhere near what we have even in infiltration. So it's not that big of a deal.
Now is
it's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
Now, so today's purpose was coming to provide us examples and give us some more detailed input on the design and the pros and cons. Are you looking for somewhat of a recommendation or
preference?
A preference on our side?
Yeah, because if you're looking at it.
And I could be wrong also. I think David and then Joe Adams with the county attorney's office are looking for, because their timeline, I think it's time sensitive.
Yeah.
Right. They're looking for approval of the third amendment to the interlocal agreement also. Is that correct, David?
I think the big thing is, do we have a preference of which one of these A, B, C, or D we want to go with?
So before you go, do you have a preference?
Anything but D.
Pick one. What's your B is your first choice? Okay. What's your first choice?
B.
Yeah. What's your first choice? Bill, do you have a preference in A, B, C, and D?
I think B is pretty.
Bill, you're on mute. Do you have a preference in one of the designs?
I think we lost it.
Okay, I'll come back. My preference would be B as well. But I do like the idea of having a fountain on top. But, I don't know if there's any additional input. You don't care?
No,
I don't care. I was between A and B.
Would,
Cecil had some.
I just think a B is pretty.
I think it's prettier too. Yeah.
Cecil,
And
do you have a
we want
preference?
something iconic, and this is it.
Can I address the board?
Absolutely.
Oh, great. Thank you. Cecil Pendergrass, current chair of our county commission. I just want to say thank you for your all service and thank you for everything you're doing for the Gateway community. I personally thought that Tinko was going to be cleaning this every week in the golf cart, so.
He could.
I'm just
Hey,
kidding.
steak this year, Cecil.
No.
You might find some of
He's
his golf
fixing every-
balls in there if you continue.
He's fixing, you know what, I played with a golf ball came from my backyard last week. So, no, I just want to really quick, so I just want to say thank you for county staff, everybody involved with this. So I just want to kind of go back to why we're here today. You know, the community over the late years, we've seen a lot of accidents, different intersections. We need to do some traffic improvements. So thank you for your board working with us over the years. You know, we almost switched from a transition from the Gateway CDD having the roads to now where we are now with the county maintaining it. Obviously taking the roundabout, some people didn't want it, some people did, and we all can agree. So Lee County stepped up trying to do the right thing for safety and everything. The one thing after we did the one roundabout, you know, everybody has some concerns about different things, but my goal was to try to add beautification to the area. And so if we're giving away our intersection, you know, we didn't want to, if we're losing trees or whatever change with it, without that, we want to make sure we improve it. So for Lee County's commitment is to safety, obviously, and beautification of this community. So I thought of the opportunity after we saw the beautiful water fountain on the airport property across the street. Everybody's asked me, how did that come about? Well, that's the Airport Port Authority paid for that. And there's a great fountain. So number A, you can see that's what happened over the Port Authority. And if you heard from staff today, they're doing another one over there too. So I thought this opportunity, but we wanted to have your input too. It's your community. And we don't want to know what your input is, which design you like the best. They're all nice except D. I did have a problem with that because it's only kind of one-sided, but yeah, wanted to hear your input. Staff be looking at it. There is a cost difference, a few $1,000s for each one. My thing is the maintenance of the monthly maintenance with water and the electricity and the pumps and all that stuff. But then also you're not going to be maintaining landscaping. We have that problem with the landscape of the new roundabout. Within the first month or two, we had weeds growing in the middle. So you're going to have landscaping maintenance, tree replacement, or you're going to have this type of maintenance. So I think it'd be a great addition to our center point of Gateway community. Within the Gateway, this is pretty much the center hub. So hopefully this improves traffic there for the residents in the morning. We've seen the traffic there. So again, thank you all for your involvement and letting us know. We want to make sure you had a chance to chime in and tell us what you like to see from that. And I'm here if you have any questions, and obviously staff's here too. Thank you.
The designs are nice.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
Yeah. Cecil, what, do you have a preference? Which one do you like?
You know, I liked, let me get my drawings out here. Let's see my thing was, my first question was the height for like, A, obviously we know what that looks like from across the street, but I also like the look of B because of the height. Then when you look at the cost difference, obviously A is $595, B is $535, but then C is $640 for the initial construction. But you know, I'm happy with any of them. Personally, I think B was good. I think I heard you guys, you girls saying B too, but we want to have your input and find out what you thought about it aesthetically, how it looks like, what's that going to look like in Gateway. The good thing about, I think, A was you had water where it's of a fixed object, and then the C you had more of a structure, and a little bit more of a structure fountain, then you have the higher water. So it's kind of which one you want. So B or C, either one for me was efficient. I just wanted to hear your input though.
Yeah, I think what I like about B is it really incorporates three aspects. There's your landscaping, your water feature, and then there's some really nice architecture. So if you're riding by, you're really not focused on just the water feature. You're focused on maybe the planning.
Hopefully you're watching the traffic.
and not stopping at the roundabout.
I was gonna bring that question up.
Please do not stop at the roundabout. You know,
I'm a talented multitasker.
I'm not gonna say so. Thank goodness we do it right here. But I've seen there's a community off of Dam, but I'm going to do. They actually have a roundabout within their community, and they put stop signs within the roundabout. So I still don't understand that functionality of why they put stop signs in the roundabout. Then they actually contract LCSO to provide traffic enforcement at that intersection. So you have confused drivers not stopping at a 6-inch unregistered stop sign within a roundabout that's not
Kind of
certified.
defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't live in that community. So, they have speed bumps before that. So hopefully we never see that with any communities within the RCDD of Pelican Reserve or Gateway speed bump, because that definitely changes the community. But anyway, thank you again. If you have any
Thank you, Cindy.
questions.
We appreciate all
Thank you.
your efforts.
Thank
And
you.
the other thing that I would add too is I like the manhole not being, or
Correct.
Yes.
being accessible,
Minor,
just
but I
in the
like it.
event.
Close enough that we can use it for a drain though.
Yeah, exactly.
Rob Price, Lee County DOT. There was two things that we really were hoping to get out of our meeting today. Was a consensus on what you guys like the best, which I think we're there. And we'll certainly look at the alternative that you offered up with Fountain B. But we were also looking for hopefully a ruling on approval of the interlocal agreement so that we can move forward. If we're ready for that, that would be great. If you guys are comfortable with that, if we need to make additional changes, we'll do that as well and bring it back. But we're hoping to get your blessing on the interlocal agreement, then we'll take it to our Board of County Commissioners at one of our next meetings.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you like, I can go through the highlights of the interlocal agreement. And again, as always, working with Lee County staff is great. Joe Adams, Dave Murphy, Rob, everybody. I guess the important salient points are Lee County's agreed to put a decorative water feature. The county will provide the district with detailed design and construction plans for district's review and comment. The county, in finalizing the design, will take all written comments provided by the district, but the final design is within the sole discretion of Lee County. The county will fund the design and construction costs, but following completion of construction, the district is agreeing under this agreement to accept all, just not even routine, all ongoing maintenance responsibilities and to fund any and all necessary maintenance and repairs. That's in the whereas. Then we get into the body of it, paragraph 1, again, paragraph 2, excuse me. The parties agree that design and construction costs will be determined and paid for by the county. The county, if necessary, it doesn't sound like if it's B that they need to have the wired anemometer. But once installed, paragraph 3, once installed and completed, except for warranty work performed by the contractors, the district's responsible for the subsequent maintenance and repairs. Number 4, the district's ongoing maintenance and repair responsibilities include, but are not limited to, power, water, mechanicals, electronics, anemometer, any damage to the feature, including damage caused by actual emissions of third parties. The district will add, it says may add, but Laura's already talked to our carrier. We can add this to our inventory for purposes of insurance coverage in case somebody runs into for a comprehensive policy. And regardless of any cause of any damage, the county has no responsibility. Paragraph 5, if the district declines or fails to properly maintain the feature 90 days after receipt of notice, written notice from the county, and a failure from the district to remedy and comply with it, the county can remove the structure and everything. And the installation of core level landscaping and the removal will be borne by the district. So those are the salient features. It's in good form for execution approval by the board. And Laura has reviewed it also, and I think you're.
And Kenny and I both looked at it.
And Kenny also, sorry.
Question, Cecil, or in the staff. The one that is at Skyplex and the one that's proposed to go at Skyplex, the smaller version, do they have a vendor that is a subcontractor that does maintenance on these?
You know, that's through the Port Authority. Do we know who they are to use for that?
I'm sure that there's somebody
I
that
think
does
when I
this
asked
stuff.
airport staff months ago on that they do within their airport staff. We
Their own
have hundreds
staff.
of employees where they do it in-house. It's just basically, there's a filter to clean and you keep whatever chemicals in it yourself to obviously to keep the water clear. It's not quite as costly as a pool, but there does have to be brushed and there's a filter to clean and then the chemicals obviously. So I know there's a cost of $400, but you know, so you weigh that against the landscape maintenance. So, so it's either gonna make that's such a beautification to the community. I think that outweighs it.
But what I'm hearing, Cecil, is it doesn't require any really special services in order to maintain the structure. It's, you know, it's something that could either be learned or.
It's equipment that our people are familiar with. That's the good thing.
We don't need a specialized vendor to come in and manage it.
So you have other communities in the area. You have Miramar Lakes that has a huge, beautiful fountain down there. Of course, Tiburon has theirs. There's a lot of them around the community in-house, on private property, country clubs. Business Parks has a lot of fountains and stuff. There is companies actually that service the fountains. So there is companies that actually specialize in fountains. So it is, you don't have a pool cleaner in it. So you do have to do some brushing here and there, but there is companies that specialize just in fountains.
Mr. Chairman, if it's if the board's of the mindset, to authorize, to approve the third amendment to the landscape sign, drainage, utilities, and street lighting maintenance and hold harmless interlocal agreement, authorize the chair to sign, and then we'll finalize the document with the exhibit A, which is the location, just the location, not the design.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
very much.
Thank you briefly, Dave or Rob, do you want
and-
us to sign it first? You got to bring it to the board first? How do you want to do this?
Sign it. And then,
Okay.
so I'll sign it today and get it to you. And so,
I can scan and send it. That's-
yeah, and then we'll scan and send it. So our recommendation is preferred option B. Unless anyone objects, if you could just maybe look at the option with fountain on top, maybe do a, look at that design, and then we can, if nothing else, just appease me. For the record.
I kind of like it without the top.
Stoked on this
It
one.
doesn't matter. As long as we
I
don't
don't
get
care.
the
I'm
stable
happy either
palms,
way.
don't
I
give me
think
stable
the B
palms.
looks nice.
Yeah.
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 Very good.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for your effort. We appreciate it.
Thank
Cecil,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's keep moving. Action item 4B, transfer
Right.
funds at pressure washing.
Yes, the pressure washing, some of the monuments need a little TLC and some cleaning, and we received a bid for $4,500 to do some pressure washing on the remaining monuments that haven't been cleaned so far. The dog park patron said that they do not want the small dog park sod redone. They want some other improvements done, so we were asking the board's permission to move the $4,500 out of the dog park sod budget into the R&M signage, because we consider the monument signs to have them pressure washed. And that
Okay.
still leaves us a little over $20,000 to do something in the dog park.
Okay, motion to approve.
I'll second for discussion.
Yeah.
Discussion. Yeah, you're talking about the 4150?
Let me do it.
Look,
Unless you need one for your record.
Tony, do we need to keep that presentation?
Yes.
Yeah, but on
Okay,
thumb drive.
Public record now. I don't have the drive.
Do you want me to send?
Yeah, if you could send a
I have it. I
PowerPoint.
saved it.
Yeah, Dan, if you can send a PowerPoint later.
I
Laura
have
saved
it. I have it.
Oh,
So we're
Okay,
good.
thank you.
We're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing, that, Laura, I saw in this ultra proposal is that saving some money. The one monument at Commerce and West Links, are you referring to the one that says Gateway Greens? Because I think that's ours. And our association is getting ready to power.
I will have to verify that with Jim. He was the one who took care of this. And
Check
he's-
that out,
Yeah, he's
because
not here.
if it is the one that's on the north side of the road in the entrance in and it says Gateway
Gateway-
Greens, that's ours. That's not a CDD.
The West Langston
issue.
Commerce one?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think that's ours.
Uh,
If it's on the
is that
north
the one
side.
that says West Links Drive? There's one there. I think that's the one he's talking
So why don't you
about.
just have Jim confirm?
Check it,
Okay.
but I
And double
approve,
check
but
that.
I don't, I think that's ours, but I approve.
Would you like that clean if it's yours
Yeah,
for
they're
that
gonna do it.
price?
For $100.
For $100 and just have it all done, or you want to?
I think it's the one that says West Links
I
Drive.
will pay $100 in penalties and abuse for why did you have the CDD do your special association? No, I don't want to do it. I don't even want to hear it.
No.
Okay, all
Of course, yeah.
right.
I'll verify and let you know.
Okay, I'll
Jim
call the
Mariah will
vote.
let
All
you
in
know.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Matarita and Karina, bond
This is,
release.
I don't think, Tony, we didn't get anything for this because we were working on the, yeah, we'll have to table this to the next meeting.
Okay. Supervisor pay schedule.
All right, this is something that, whoops. Still waiting for it to open, sorry, I was not proactive. By statute, there is $4,800 a year that the board gets paid by the Florida statute. I have it listed here. So my question before the board, and because this came up last year, and I know that we're going to be having a bunch of extra meetings because of the hiring of the district manager. Do you want me, I have no preference, I'm just asking you. Do you want me to pay you for every time that you are in this building for a board meeting? Or would you like, and most likely your money's gonna run out well before the end of the year, or would you like me to only pay you for the normal first and third Thursday board meetings?
First and third board meeting.
So,
It leaves you like
so
one
let me ask
floater.
you, Tony, what's the stipulations here? Do you need to be paid per meeting or can you just get a monthly stipend?
It says per meeting.
Per
I
meeting.
believe.
It is
says
per
in the
meeting.
calendar.
Is that what it says? I'm sorry.
Also, I think it's in 190 also.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
190 says each supervisor shall be entitled to receive for his or her services an amount not to exceed $200 per meeting of the board, not to exceed $4,800 per year. That's in, so that's separate. That's what governs is 190.
Right.
To me, we get paid to come to the meeting. If the meeting is extended or what's the word you use, carried forward,
Continued.
it continued, then it's part of the deal.
The alternative
And-
is not to exceed $4,800 per year or an amount established by the electors at referendum.
Yeah, I ain't going down that road.
I know, I didn't think so. but that's-
Just pay it for essentially the 2 meetings a month and the
Leaves you
others,
one
it's
floater.
part of our job.
So, okay, it leaves you like one floater if you don't have 2 meetings in December.
That's my
Okay,
opinion.
I will, that's how I did it this last time. So when you guys get your things on Friday, I didn't pay for the extended meeting. I only paid for the actual regular meeting. Okay, okay.
So we don't need.
That's correct.
I just needed to get clarification from you how you wanted me to.
Okay, great. And then 4E, resolution 2022-08, record retention schedule.
I got this from Maryland.
Yeah, I had a question on this. Why? Is this a requirement?
I've never seen that before. but
This came from Maryland and she said, please put it on the agenda.
There is a
So-
statute. What I would suggest is we can continue this and table this. The statute does address, have certain parameters established, but there are some other provisions on it. One that says follow. You have to follow the applicable that the state establishes for record retention. So we can table this until the next board meeting.
Yes.
Well, I had three issues that if you were going to table it, check out stuff. One, compensation associated with this. This stuff to do here. Insurance, insecurity.
Well, we already
on
have
these documents.
The records custodian under chapter 119, there are obligations to maintain records. So that we have that already. And then there the state of Florida Division of Services has a PSL schedule. Separate set.
But do we have insurance covering us on this?
That's a good
on the
question to
records?
ask. Whether in case of fire or destruction.
Yes.
That's a good, yeah, that's a good
I
question.
don't
I can
know.
get
That's a good
clarifying on
question to
that.
I was kind of surprised when I saw this first time. I thought, where did this come from? Is this?
Yeah.
I know
never seen it
I've
before.
tried to move most of our records to electronic format, which is backed up in multiple places. So
Yeah,
if
you got
something were to
backup.
happen, then yeah, there.
Yeah, no,
But we also have hard copies of stuff that I'm wondering is plans, Mylars.
I believe
CPs.
Austin has been converting those. We have the paper plans here, but he's been converting those to digital as well.
Okay.
So we've been doing our best to have everything on digital copy, even if we hang on to the paper copies.
yeah, what I would suggest again is table it because
Yep.
the statute is not as broad as what's contained in that resolution. The statute just says we have to, number one, establish and maintain an active and continuing program for the economical and efficient management of records. And then it talks about a public record may be destroyed or otherwise disposed of only in accordance with retention schedules established by the division, which we do.
We do have
I mean,
that,
so
yes.
we have that GSL schedule.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but who authored this?
This came from Infomark.
Okay.
I
So,
think it's
Tony,
because I've
let's
been
just-
asking
we
questions.
can
Let's
pare it
let
down.
Tony do his due diligence.
Okay.
And then we'll come back.
I'll
on him.
move it to the
I think we
third.
can pare it down.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay,
I
4.
thought Laura came up with this.
Yeah.
No, that came from Maryland.
I
I have no idea where it came from. It just showed up in my inbox and said, please put this on the agenda. So
Let me
I
know
did.
next time.
Okay, 4F, request for a driveway replacement.
Oh, this is a can of worms.
Yeah. So this is something, this is a Brian legacy. This is something, this gentleman contacted me in November wanting to know why his driveway wasn't fixed. And I didn't know anything about it, so I had to do some digging into it. And I put it in my summary here. Apparently Brian had gotten a quote to pay for part of the driveway and have the owner pay for part of the driveway. So basically, I think you looked at I can still pull the pictures up here. This is what this gentleman bought this house a year ago in this condition. So he wants us to replace this, well, the whole driveway this of the manhole here causing the cracks, which run all the way up to the garage door. And I believe what Brian's intention was to pay for this section here and this section here. and
Well,
then have the rest of this.
That control joint, I'll buy. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. The bottom part of the concrete section.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind having a discussion on that because
Yep.
I've got some issues. But from there on up, which is essentially outside the right of way, because the right of way on most of these roads are 40 feet. So the half is 20, okay? And the pavement is 12. So that means we have 8 feet of either grass or in this particular case, that one concrete section with that line going across there.
Right here.
That I could argue is part of our responsibility. However, when you get into this is can of worms. I've seen 4 driveways in Gateway Greens alone that have this or a worse condition of the manhole being in the driveway. And the reason the manhole's in the driveway is because somebody made a turn there. The road makes a turn, so every time you make a turn in a sewer, you have to have a manhole. And it just happened where it was designed. But I've got just 2 on my street that are in this same boat. And if we do this one, we are certainly going to be doing those. I think we need to have a policy to how to handle that. I don't see how you can easily go beyond the right of way.
I agree.
That's just not,
Well,
I don't think that's.
I agree with everything you said, except that you think that part's ours. If you bought the house in February, and it looked like that, you bought it.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
That's part of that's my main thing with it. He bought the house a year ago, February, in this condition and immediately contacted us to have it fixed.
There was a time.
Oh, say that again.
He just bought the house a year ago in February. He's lived there for a year. It sounds like he reached out almost as soon as he moved in to have us replace this.
Yeah.
Well, so he contacted us of an issue.
I believe,
earlier.
I couldn't find the exact timeline, but this is something that Brian was working on before he left.
If you lived there 15 years and this occurred, maybe I might.
Well, I don't know. I take a little bit different stance. I think that, we need to look at what we would cover under any circumstance.
I think
with the damage, regardless of the transfer of ownership in this. So Tony, when you look at this from a legal perspective, if this person had been living there for 20 years, regardless of transfer of ownership, and there was damage to the area or within the easement, would we be responsible for it?
Typically, the right-of-way permits for driveways that I've seen require the property owner to maintain
Damn, not
the
us.
driveway that's in the right-of-way.
I know they do the yards, but I don't know about the driveway.
That's typically is that if I want to, the driveways are the obligation typically of.
There's many driveways without manholes that have cracks also.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any record where any work and we couldn't find any record of any permits being done for any type of driveway. So this is the addition, the original driveway to this house. So it's about 28 years old.
Well, typically what they've done is they'll put a square around the manhole and it'll protrude out maybe 6 to 8 inches. And then it's trying to minimize the cracking.
Isolate.
Yeah, isolate it. And then with joints around it. But this one here, looking at that crack, the way it's gone, you can see the one that's going up to the left, and then you can see another one over on the right-hand side. My guess is what has happened is that manhole isn't settling. The manhole is staying firm and the driveway is settling, which then introduces what Scott was trying to say, and I'm going around Hell's Half Acre to get to the answer, is that this is a can of worms.
Well, yeah, and I think, and again, my experience has been dealing with local government, cities and counties, and Scott and Kel, correct me if I'm wrong. When you have a driveway and another entity's right of way, it's your responsibility to maintain your driveway. I mean, that's the permit they give, and you need, regardless of the subsurface conditions or anything else. Is that your experience, Scott and Kel?
It is. Again, Scott Connell. When I went out and viewed this upon Laura's request, I looked at it and looked through the whole neighborhood. A lot of cracked driveways. A lot of people have replaced them themselves. Some with stamped concrete, some with pavers. Some replaced it with concrete. Now, this is the only driveway that has a junction box in it within the right of way or within the easement. Now, I agree with Laura. We looked back, we didn't find any permitting to replace the driveway or anything else. This was done originally by the developer. So during the process in land development, they put in the infrastructure, then they come in and build their roads, and then they build their houses, and then they put in their driveways. So when this was constructed originally, the driveway subcontractor for the developer never put in the correct diamond control joints, et cetera. So it was an original developer issue. And I don't believe, in my opinion, it's the responsibility of the district.
Scott, where's this at?
The address is up here.
I didn't know where that street
12
was at.
711 Meadow Pine Drive.
I forget the name of the neighborhood.
So Scott, let me ask you another question. So if it is our position that we have no burden of responsibility, and the homeowner decides to replace the driveway, what is our burden of responsibility at the point of it being repaired or replaced? Would we require, or would we have anything to, would we do it, would we have any burden to make sure that it's?
We could give them a template for the diamond. We could do that.
I think arguably what we should do is what counties and cities do, a right-of-way permit. And part of that right-of-way permit is the design of the driveway.
So when they
And it's
come up with
typically
the
what you do.
design permit, we would say, okay, it has to,
Yes,
part of this redesign at your expense, this
include-
has to meet this criteria,
Yes.
because the burden falls on you based on all the.
yes, that's
Yeah,
my
okay.
opinion, yes.
Would you agree,
I
Scott?
concur,
Okay.
yes.
Because
I
that's what we
didn't
make
feel it
sure,
was,
when it does replace, I want to make sure that it's
Yeah.
done right, so we don't have this problem.
yeah, I didn't feel it was my decision to make, although I don't think we should do it, but I wanted to bring it before the board.
If I'd
so.
seen cracking coming off the manhole itself,
Then
the casting, might have had a little bit different feeling, but this, what it looks like to me is that manhole's strong
Mhm.
and stay where it's at, and it's the drive on both
Well,
sides.
I was looking for an oak.
Yeah,
my first-
yeah, no.
No trees.
Yeah, I was looking for an oak.
Huge truck could break
Uh,
that back.
So
we're
do I?
looking for a motion?
Yeah, we're ready. for-
Yeah, I need some
Okay,
direction.
So I'll make a motion to go with staff recommendation and decline the replacement of the driveway.
I'll second it.
I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, what, would you repeat the motion, please?
The motion is to move forward with staff's recommendation, which is not to move forward with any burden of responsibility in replacing. So we have a motion, a second. I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any- Okay.
By the way, it looks like there's a big tree to the.
That's what Doug was looking for.
I will let him know.
That looks like an oak to me.
Okay. All right.
That's the side.
Right.
The irrigation meter, Kenny. Kenny, you're up, buddy.
Kenny,
Kenny, you're up. 4G, the irrigation meter.
Good afternoon, Kenny Hall. Originally, we had wanted to get this in front of you all for action. With Tetra Tech, we just were not able to get this. They couldn't get the numbers, the real numbers to what the cost estimates would be. So I'm going to bring it back at the next meeting.
Okay, so this one's tabled.
Yeah.
You might indicate that this is a proposal for a substantial piping change and layout on our irrigation reuse lines. The meter where it's located is a joke. It's not done right. And there's some piping that has to be in. We're not talking about 8-inch pipe, but we're talking about 24-inch cast iron. It's big.
24-inch ductile iron.
Ductile
It's going to
iron,
have to
yeah.
be precision made, most likely.
There's some critical dimensions.
Yep.
So we need to have this engineered and done right.
And we just weren't able to get all the numbers and everything come back to get it on this meeting for any kind of action. So it'll be on the next board.
Good. All right, thanks, Kenny. So we all got a copy of the resolution 2022-02 from Stony Brook Community. I know that Joe has spoken to this at the last meeting. Is there any questions? They basically have gone with our record with.
Greg, my only understanding is that paragraph 7, as far as the effective date, Laura reminded me, or Andrew, Georgia, that as I understand it, the Stony Brook Advisory Committee and Stony Brook folks want the effective date to be after the April election of new board members. So I would suggest the effective date be May 1st.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's in paragraph 7.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve resolution 2022 with the effective date of May 1st, 2022?
I'll make that motion.
No second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay.
And I appreciate the sticky note from Georgia. Remind me to mention that.
So Premier District's consulting agreement. So Cal submitted the revised agreement. Is there any conversation on what's in there?
No, we kicked that can down the road.
Okay. So we're everyone's comfortable with the new agreement?
Yeah, the only thing that I had was that, and I talked to Cal, he's fine with it. I was looking for something that specifically made it clear that this is not a district management agreement, but it does say that it's a consulting agreement. So I think any inference that there's a district management involvement here is not the case.
That's correct. Cal shared his initial draft with me, and then I went through.
I'm sorry, I don't have that. Is that the process update? Is that what that is?
No, I made copies just in case anyone.
Yeah, and Cal took the old district management contract, I gave him the Word format. He created it and then took out a bunch referencing district management. I went through and made sure and took out the rest and to utilize the term consultant throughout. That's why that's why the word consultant is the key phrase.
This isn't a different copy, is it? No. Same thing. Okay. The only other thing I had is since we are terminating the other agreement, are we up to speed and all payments made under the original agreement? Are we in good
There's
shape?
one invoice that's being
I processed it today.
Okay.
So it went through. So that's, they
No
have to check
issues.
at the end of the week normally, so it won't get done until next week, but I pushed it through today.
So
Everything that's been submitted has been forwarded for payment.
okay, so we're clean on the break, correct?
We'll be sending the January out soon.
Yeah.
This, because we wait for the full.
So you've got another closeout invoice, I take it? You've got another closeout invoice?
Should have two,
Go
January
ahead,
and
January.
February.
January and February.
Okay.
January.
Half
February.
a week of February and January.
Okay.
And Tony, the terms of the agreement in this new agreement is from February to end of April.
April 29th, that's correct.
29.
That was the same date of the same end date of the original agreement.
Okay.
And I think what we need to do also is just for clarification, for the record, is just authorize the board authorize and approve the chair signing a termination agreement that be prepared.
Sure.
For the other agreement.
Termination and authorized chair to move to the new consultant.
Yeah, correct.
So that's the motion?
Correct, because
That
just
is.
to just have nice clean records of the district management contract agreement will be terminated.
Right.
It will have the effective date as of February 14th, same day. Okay.
Did I make
And then we went down on the hours, right? We went from 20 to 15 hours.
20 to
per week.
15?
20 to 15.
Average. Okay.
And again, if you notice it here.
No, 32 to 15. Scott is still 20 hours.
Right, yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's won't be billed on a hourly basis. It'll be on a monthly fee basis, but we'll have Scott's committed to a minimum of 20 hours and
Right.
we're 15.
But they're separate because they're separate fees for, so
Well, the
15
bill will
is
be
for the
one
management
bill.
consultant services and the on-site project
And
is
then 20
20.
hours
Yeah,
per
so
week for
it's
staff.
separate, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to, well, I guess you want to terminate the first contract first?
No, it can be both. I think
Yeah, we can-
because it'll be simultaneous.
Okay, so terminate the first contract and then go ahead and authorize signing the new contract.
For management consulting services.
Yes.
I second that motion.
All right, any additional discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Thank
just did want to point to the schedule that we're maintaining right now. You could have a district manager that you would select as early as next month.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And in,
Can we,
Ciao.
I've got, and thanks for doing all this, but I've got a concern here coming up. Scotty, are you definitively done
Yes, I am.
the end of March?
Yes.
Is there any opportunity for callback? The reason I'm bringing this up is we've got a roundabout road project that's going to start, I'm going to guess, in the next 30 to 60 days. And if it's anything like what we had at Commerce Lakes, and you know, because you got involved in it, Chris, I don't know how many board members know, but Chris headed off one hell of a lot of attempts by the county engineer and in some cases county staff for change orders that were not ours. We need to have somebody that's very knowledgeable at the table because I'm telling you, they talk good. And I don't want to end up taking a hit for a 2, 3, 10, 20, $100,000 change order because we weren't knowledgeable of what was going on.
Wouldn't this be something that our district engineer would jump in and help?
Well,
project
that's
management?
what I was looking at somebody that had, pardon the expression, a little bit more gray hair, that he knows this, or lack thereof. But he knows this business. That's why I was wondering if he were available for consulting on the side. It may never come up. Should we be that lucky? But these guys, I saw what they tried to do, and Chris headed it off. It was a challenge. It was a challenge.
So I would say, you may not be able to answer that today.
Yeah, you don't have to have an answer,
So-
but it's a
That's not like
problem.
you say no, so.
But what we do need to do, Scott, and maybe and Laura, is, Ed brings up a good point. We need some oversight. And that's why I was telling you earlier, Scott, like, getting that transition plan so we understand what we need to keep our eye on and what's, going smooth and even potentially what may happen. So I'm sure you'll help us through that.
That's what we'd like to have at that, what do you call it, pre-construction meeting, is that Laura and Scott, to the extent that you're still here, and I would think that they're going to do it by the end of March if they're going to get started, that at least we're knowledgeable of what the issues are.
I think that from my perspective, legal perspective, and the district's potential liability, I think it's a good idea because we had our district engineer told the county's engineering consultant and the county staff and the county's contractor they were wrong. There's no basis for a claim. But it was almost as if the county's engineer and the contractor were saying, no, it was a bad design. And the design actually showed this issue. Okay, so it was good to have the district come in and say, oh, no.
Well,
We looked at what our engineer did.
To me, it's pretty simple. If we don't have, let's say, someone at staff that can be that representative, then it falls on engineering. So I think we have to reach out to Danny.
Yeah, we don't even know what the issue is, and it may be that we're making a mountain out of a molehill.
And if nothing else, it's oversight.
Yeah,
So
I saw what happened last time, and it scares me that, because this one's going to be a far more complicated
So
project.
what I'll do is, I think Danny may have already dropped, but I'll reach out to Danny and just get his input on the concept of, does that fall within existing scope? Is that, additional outside of our contract? So that's a good point, Ed. I'll take that away. Laura, if you'll just make a note of that.
Okay.
Hey, I'm still on, Doug, but we can chat later.
Okay, all right. So moving on. So with everything, we need to have, we need to appoint an interim district manager. I'd like to make the recommendation that we appoint Laura in that spot.
I thought we did that the last
I
time.
thought we did
tabled
too.
it to this, so we just need to formally do it. So if I can just have a motion.
I'll motion that.
Motion
I'll second.
and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Now it's a fish.
Right. So, so for the record, Laura would be appointed interim district manager until a district manager is identified. Okay, consent agenda 5 ABC. Anything to pull?
Nothing for me.
Okay, motion to approve.
I make it.
Second. First and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Future board business, we've got the President's Council meeting that'll be held at Pelican Preserve in the Magnolia Room on Thursday, February 24th. We've had 11 presidents or reps sign up. We just need to monitor that, that we're getting, and that's still a pretty decent number, but it has.
It is, and there will be some Pelican presidents there too. Unfortunately, I have to go out of town tomorrow. I had a daughter had an operation. I planned on being there. But it's, if the organization is set up, they're ready for you.
It's a week from today.
Yes.
Yep, next Thursday.
So.
So can we just, and George's probably doing.
I can have Georgia reach out again, just say, hey, just a reminder, please let me know. We have people that show up that don't RSVP.
And I think as we get closer, we probably should send an agenda out too.
Yeah, the agenda is up on the board right now.
Yeah, so I mean, as
Send
you
that
send it
out.
out, yeah, send it
Okay.
out as well.
Correct. I'll have her do that.
Okay. Supervisor comments. Flavia, I'll start at your end.
Nothing.
Mr. Tinkle,
Nothing.
Bob?
The only comment I'll have is I became very attached to the board books that were prepared. And I really struggled going through it electronically. Julie, Lars helped me, but I don't know how big a deal it was to prepare it. but it was well worthwhile for me, and I'd like to have it back.
We did put a caveat in there that if you're really struggling with it, we would be able to make one for
Yeah,
you. But for a general rule of thumb, we were trying to not print.
I do understand
Because there's
that.
no formal board book anymore.
I'm just not that good at the computer. I mean, I keep opening things up, and every time I do, it's a hornet's nest, and never
How
find.
does the public get access to that?
What?
It's a record.
How does the public get access?
Records request, same as the board book. We just asked them to let us know which agenda items they want to see and we send them to them.
Because I just go on, click the ones that I want to memorialize and keep and just make a hard copy.
Yeah, they
of
don't
it.
get the ones with the link on it, only the board gets the agenda with the links on it.
Okay.
So we just have them let us know which
Is there any
documents they
reason
want
why
to
we
see.
don't let them have that? How do they know what's going on?
They see the agenda. No, they
they
see the agenda, but they don't get the actual document.
So here's what I would probably like to have.
Correct.
Unless your question, I guess the question is, on the agenda itself, could they hyperlink to the balance of the document?
I would have to find some place to securely store that. Right now, I don't have a place to do that. So it's only people with a link to the folder, which is the board
But
and
they
staff.
can request a full agenda packet, then you can email it to them.
Correct. And that's what we've been doing. They've been putting the
So as long
request
as
through
they can do
customer
that,
care
good.
and we
So
send it out.
Let's do this. Let's look at the feasibility to print board books, not maybe, if you got something that's thick, okay, and maybe we create some document limits on.
Or just indicate which ones you want. Some of those things you don't
Well, I mean,
have to copy the whole damn thing.
Well, what I'd like to do is maybe, if you're gonna print one copy, you might as well go ahead and print, 4.
Yeah, unfortunately, I need it.
Well, I know for Georgia to put those 4 board books together the way they were in the binders with the tabs and everything, she would spend over an hour.
But maybe we
just
don't
doing
need that
It's only
much.
twice a month, though. I mean, it's not.
But maybe we don't need her to do that much. If you just can print it in order and put a large clip on it and then we'll pick it up. Cause
Yeah.
I was bringing the binders back cause I felt bad. So I bought my own binders.
Yeah.
So like I was recycling, like I would go through it.
She can do
and then
that, just print it
So
out. It's
just
like
print
you don't,
it.
if you don't need it fancy, then.
print it. Yeah, we don't need.
I don't
Okay.
need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's just do,
I just can't find the stuff.
We'll get you a personally
I need it.
embossed 3-ring binder.
Leather
okay,
bound.
so let's,
Leather, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
and we can ask each board member if they want.
Yeah.
I'll have Georgia pull the board
Yeah, I
and
don't
then,
need that.
I mean, and I would say if it's, yeah, okay. So
as
we'll
long
figure
as she
it out.
doesn't, I mean, if she doesn't have to take all the time to put all the tabs and everything.
Yeah,
like she
No.
is, then it's
Yeah,
really
well,
not a big
that's
deal.
Just print
Okay.
it.
It's really not.
As long as everything's labeled
And I even
appropriately,
come over
Bob
and
can
pick 'em
follow.
up.
Put a pink piece of
I pick it
paper
up.
in between the dividers.
Yeah,
for the
like
dividers.
instead of tabs that she has to tab and all.
Well, she still has to manually insert them, so.
Okay, then.
Then
Well,
don't-
let her- let us go through
We'll
it.
figure it out. Yeah, just print it all.
And if you want some binders, we have a whole bunch.
We
that
we
one
have
of
plenty of
our-
binders.
one of our.
Oh, I
I can
can,
return
yeah,
mine.
yeah, bring it.
All right, so
I'm
let's keep
bringing
moving
the
along.
binder.
We've got a long meeting. Bill, is any comments from you, sir?
Only that I would like to have my board book delivered to me
Okay.
Yes,
like
sir.
like it was before. That's all.
Sounds good. So let's do this. Do we?
What I would suggest is that the board take a 10-minute recess. That will allow the court reporter to set up.
We'll do 5 minutes.
And that's a
For
lock
5
the
minutes,
building and.
court reporter set up, and then when we come back into session, in addition to turning everything off, including all of these computers and everything, all electronics go off.
Okay.
And then when we start the meeting will start in a public session, and then we'll shut down go to meeting, shut down the microphone, for the public. So that becomes a closed door session, but we start out in the open.
So we take a 5-minute recess
Yes,
and then we'll come back, re-adjourn, and then we'll go through protocol.
Reconvene,
Okay,
yes.
reconvene. So we're taking a 5 minute, so 5 minutes.
You're not muted, just so you know.
Actually, so
Worse than me.
5:10.
muted. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So at this time, we're going to commence an attorney-client session between the Board of Supervisors of the Gateway Service District, Community Development District, and our attorneys. This session will be closed to members of the public under section 286.011, 8 of the Sunshine Law. A governmental body may meet in private with its chief executive officer and its attorneys to discuss certain matters relating to pending litigation. The subject matter of the attorney-client session shall be confined to settlement negotiations or strategy sessions related to litigation expenditures concerning pending litigation to which the district is presently a party before a court-style Gateway Service Community Development District versus Fortiline Inc., DBA Fortiline Waterworks, in case number 22-ZA-000466, pending in the circuit court in and for the 20th Judicial Circuit of Lee County, Florida. This session will be recorded by a certified court reporter who is directed to record the times of the commencement and termination of the session, the names of all persons speaking, and all discussion and proceedings. Upon the conclusion of the litigation, a transcript of this session will be made a part of the public record. The estimated length of the session is approximately 1.5 hours, but may be terminated early or extended longer. The following persons will attend this closed session: Supervisor Doug Banks, William Guy.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, not be attending.
I'm sorry, strike that. Mr. Guy will not be in attendance. Ed Tinkle, Flavia Walsh, Bob Geppert, Laura Leroy, Interim District Manager, as the District Chief Administrator or Executive Officer, District Counsel Anthony Piers, Lenore Brakefield, and Zachary Lombardo, and a court reporter. Let the record reflect that pursuant to the requirements of the Sunshine Law, notice has been given of the time and date of today's closed session, as well as the names of the participant, as evidenced by a copy of the notice published on February 8th, 2023 in the Fort Myers News Press. The time is now 5:17. Posting of the posting.
Mr. Mayor, stop there for a moment.
Yep, sure.
What I'll do, I'll hand the court reporter. It's a copy, rolling up copy of the ad placed in, notice placed in Fort Myers News Press on February 8th, and it'll be made part of the transcript. Thank you, Teresa. And Teresa Dines, our court reporter, and she's a very good court reporter. And she'll be transcribing everything. With regards to, so this session is now closed to the public. Mr. Chairman, you can close it to the public, and the court reporter will note the time of the closing. Mr. Chairman, you could then say that the public session is to the public is now closed.
Yeah, the current session is now closed to the public.
And everything is all